Guys, I've wanted to make this video for a while, but literally every single day for the last month, the headlines, they just keep changing. The interest rates are falling, institutional buyers are banned, mortgage rules have changed about credit scores, there's wars overseas, Iran is being overthrown, mass deportations, Venezuela, the energy markets are in trouble, AI is taking the jobs, the Michigan EV plants are laying off thousands of employees, China and Russia conflicts are everywhere, Greenland is for sale, Trump wants to buy Canada, and then there's tariffs. And I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of stuff in other headlines, but I think you're gonna get my point here. Every morning it felt like a new reason to panic and what to predict next. And I didn't want to rush to get this video out, but I wanted to give you some real insight and something of real value. But I found myself honestly in a web of headlines, and like, did they matter? Like, if the rates fell to about here and the oil prices dipped to here, parents are now deciding to homeschool than they did last year, and you can buy a house without a credit score. What does that actually mean for the housing market in 2026? And the louder that noise got and the deeper I dug into what was happening globally and locally, the clearer something honestly became. The 2026 housing market will not be decided by headlines. It's going to be decided by real life, the things that happen to real people like you and me. But first, why people actually feel frozen right now. Right now, a lot of people, they feel stuck. They're not saying no, they're just saying not yet. And they're waiting for things like the rates to drop a little more, prices to dip, a clear signal, or one headline that finally makes everything make sense. Here's the problem. Housing doesn't wait for clarity. It's going to move anyway. So before we talk about real life, we need to ground this conversation with some actual data and not just some guy on the internet's opinions. So let's get to that. Here's what the data actually says, guys. According to the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales are projected to increase around 10 to 14% in 2026 compared to 2025. Mortgage rates are expected to average from the mid 5s to low 6% range, and inventory is improving but still well below historical norms, and home prices are expected to flatten or rise just modestly, and first-time home buyer activity is expected to increase as rates begin to stabilize. And that's not a boom, and that's not a crash, that's just normalization. And here's the part that most people are going to miss. Every single year, all of these forecasts try to predict fear, but the market seems to only respond to necessity. And why these forecasts always seem to feel incomplete, and here's the hard truth. The National Association of Realtors, the Fed, the economists, they're not wrong. They're just incomplete because forecasts can't measure pending divorces, health issues, aging parents. These things don't show up on the charts, but they move more homes than interest rates honestly ever will. This is the real 2026 housing market. Let me show you what actually drives housing. George and Dolores, they lived in their 3-bedroom colonial for 36 years. George slipped, shoveling snow, and broke his hip. Dolores has fibromyalgia and can't handle the stairs anymore. They're not watching mortgage news. They're downsizing in 2026 because stairs don't care about rate cuts. And then there's Andrew and Chelsea. Andrew works in logistics. She is a nurse. They're engaged. Rent keeps going up. They just want stability, not perfection, just something that doesn't need a lot of work. They don't need 4% rates. They need a home that they can afford, they can grow into. And guess what? They're buying in 2026. And then there's Rick and Beth. They tried. The kids are grown. The house is too big. And the marriage is done. Divorce doesn't wait for better conditions, so they're selling. They're buying separately, and they're doing that, this year. And man, Emily, the second baby is on the way. The starter home, officially too small. They're upsizing because cribs, they don't wait for macro clarity and headlines. And yes, they offered over asking because she's due in 4 months and they need to be moved in by then. These stories, they don't show up in the headlines, but they are the market. They always have been, and they always will be. Every year, people try to time housing. Every year, housing just moves anyway. And here's the biggest myth about waiting. Here's what waiting usually does. It doesn't stop people from buying. It just changes what they buy, where they buy, and how much leverage they can or will use. Most people who wait don't end up paying less. they end up just compromising differently than they anticipated. So here's my actual predictions for 2026. Housing activity increases, not freezes. Buyers who waited in 24 and 25 are slowly going to begin re-entering. Sellers who need to move will move. Rates matter less than people actually think, and life events are going to matter more than ever before. 2026 won't feel loud, it's just going to feel steady. And here's my final thought. If you're waiting for the noise to calm down, you might be waiting forever. But if you understand how real life drives housing, 2026 can become rather clear for you. And this channel isn't about chasing all the headlines. It's about reality, because Main Street always tells the truth long before Wall Street ever catches on.